This is the Bianchi Specialissima RC. It's a lightweight aero road racer that costs £10,999 or nearly $14,000, and it is an absolute dream to ride. Honestly, it's fantastic, but then you would hope so for the cost. But is it ugly? To me, those tube shapes look like a modernist house in a quaint little village. What have they done with the elegant lines of the original Specialissima? Ugh. But with the way that it rides, should I even care about how this thing looks? I'll answer that, but before I do, let me tell you more about how a $14,000 bike actually rides. Oh, and be a lamb and subscribe to the channel. It's free and it really does help us out massively. Let's park all chat of aesthetics for now, because how this thing rides is really what should matter. Bianchi has balanced speed, comfort and handling really well, making the Specialissima RC a delight to ride. But there are numerous bikes in the lightweight aero category, names like the Canyon Ultimate, Factor 02, Giant TCR, Scott Addict, Pinarello Dogma, and what is arguably the king of all of that, the Specialized Tarmac SL8. As an all-rounder though, this is really nice to ride. But what do you buy a lightweight road race bike for? I'd imagine it's to go fast everywhere. Climbing is this bike's natural strength. Shallow gradients feel very fast, but the Specialissima RC really shines as the gradient tips into double digits. These steeper climbs are where I too feel most comfortable, and the stiffness of the frame rewards these punchy efforts with kind of a can-do attitude. It really does glide up hills with an efficiency that reminds me actually of my Specialized Aethos, which is impressive given that the Aethos is a dedicated climbing bike. Now, just for reference, the Aethos weighs around about 6 kilos compared with the 7 kilos of this bike as you kind of see it. So, climbing is good, but a bike like this needs to be fast on the flatlands, and here it has some seriously strong competition. Steadier riding on flatter roads is good, but I didn't really feel a noticeable difference over my very un-aero Specialized Aethos. That's just a tad disappointing, but I think I know what the problem is. Similar lightweight aero bikes I've ridden, which use deeper wheels than the Specialissima, feel just a little bit more efficient here, especially in a crosswind where the wheel depth can give you a bit of like a sail effect. But still, 30 kilometers an hour was a maintainable speed when I was riding on my own, and when I got stuck into a few Zone 3 efforts, the bike was happy to surge forward. The geometry does help here. It's roughly on trend with other modern road bikes, but if you pop it against a Specialized Tarmac SL8, the Bianchi is longer and lower. Now, the result embraces an aggressive racing stance, giving you the option of adopting an uncompromising aerodynamic riding position. Whether you can persuade your spine down into such a long and low position is another matter. To summarize, I'd say that this all-rounder is weighted slightly more to the climbs, but I'd expect that a deeper set of wheels would make this bike really fly on the flats. That geometry chart that we showed you has a massive effect on the handling. Instead of boring you by reading the numbers out, I will put them on the screen again now. But the simple takeaway is that I loved descending on this thing. Given the wet weather that we've had and the skinny 26mm Pirelli TT tyres, opportunities to really bank the bike into a corner were fleeting. In fact, I did scare myself a few times when a corner got wet halfway round. But on flowing, high-speed descents, the bike feels calm with purposeful, not jittery steering. This, I believe, is largely down to the 988mm wheelbase, which is carried over from the old model. The SL8, for example, has a shorter 978mm wheelbase in the equivalent size, which will make the handling a little snappier. The Bianchi's assured nature when riding at speed is brilliant whether you're a confident descender or looking to build your skills. Now, because the bike felt predictable, I felt confident to descend aggressively when the roads were dry. And after a winter of mundane riding on my winter bike, it was lovely to tip the bike into an apex again. So top marks here. Many of my rides use roads in the west of England that can be best described as broken. Here it was nice to find that Bianchi has provided plenty of rear end comfort, while the bar also does a great job of isolating the rider from road buzz. Now, larger cracks in the asphalt will be felt, as will heavily worn sections of like that chip-sealed road that the local council seems so keen on. That said, I would strongly suspect the bike's comfort could be further improved with a set of tubeless 30 or 32mm tyres, the latter being the biggest that you can fit. I really can't stress enough how much I've enjoyed taking this on hilly rides in the Mendip Hills. And there I was, not sold on the looks and kind of almost hoping that this thing would be rubbish. Okay, so that's me summing up what it's like to ride, but it's time to address the elephant in the forest. Nothing about the way that this bike looks makes me want to own it. I know this might seem quite petty or basic of me, but the way that the bike looks forms a massive part of my desire to go and ride it. Now, other lightweight aero road bikes have gentler lines which sit softly on my retinas. There is, for example, a very straight line from here to here. And yet Bianchi has gone in all sorts of directions and I just don't get the point. I'm also, if you follow me down here, not a fan of that overhanging head tube. It just kind of looks unfinished. Some of Bianchi's rivals aren't much better, mind. The SL8 has that silly speed sniffer. So I've turned the bike around now, and as you can see, you don't find the usual brand name on the down tube. This Ripato course is the name for Bianchi's racing department. Like Trek's monstrous logos, it's just a bit weird to me. There's also the matte paint with the gloss wheels. That's just wrong. It all adds up to a bike that wows me when riding, but doesn't really have my heart at the cafe. Let me know how important a bike's looks are to you in the comments. I'm inherently fussy when it comes to my bike setup, and if you're dropping 14k on a road bike, I think you should be too. Ideally for me, these TT tyres would be swapped out for a tubeless 28mm tyre. I'd probably have something like the Continental GP5000 STR. I'd also like to be able to put the 50mm wheels from Bianchi's Ultra RC on this, but that isn't a changeable option if you buy the Specialissima. The additional width and tubeless design would allow for lower pressures for enhanced comfort, while the GP5000's compound is one that I'm happier with in mixed conditions. I'd also want a narrower bar. Now, Bianchi can save you a handful of watts from efficient tube shapes, but nothing compares with optimizing your body position. I made a video on this topic actually, so you should go and check that out after we're done here. Now, luckily, the bar width is amendable when you buy the bike, and there are a host of options to choose from. For instance, my preferred 120mm stem with a 38cm bar is available, which is great news for aero. One thing that I wouldn't change, however, is the group set. Now, this Shimano 12-speed Dura-Ace Di2 stuff has been brilliant. The braking is dependable and really predictable. It's also quiet when you come off the brakes, which I really like. The gearing is pretty much perfect for my riding. This is a 52-36 up front with an 11 to 30 tooth cassette at the back. That gives you a range of decent spinnable gears for the hills, but also some faster stuff for the flatlands. Now, I do want to touch on the power meter. It has had some bad press on the internet, but the numbers it has been given me have been fantastic, and I really want to believe them. So I'm saying that it's perfectly accurate. While I would look to make one or two component changes, the Bianchi Specialissima RC is an utterly fantastic bike to ride uphill and down dale. There is plenty of stiffness for out of the saddle efforts, and an excellent geometry creates assured handling that rewards you with riding confidence. But, and this is a big but, I will admit that I still can't get past the looks. At $14,000, a bike just needs to be perfect, and looks do factor into that. But if you see this design as purposeful, you're looking at one of the best lightweight aero bikes in the world. But for me, so much of a bike's appeal is looks, so I could never actually see myself buying this, which is a shame because it's brilliant. If you are on the hunt for a lightweight aero bike, then why not check out this video where Ash puts two of the best, the Specialized Tarmac SL8 and the Canyon Ultimate, head to head. Now, if you want to see more reviews on the channel, then leave us a like and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bikes.